We are tonight's entertainment.
You can't handle the truth.
The fire rises.
Pizza time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So it begins.
You know how much I sacrifice?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Groovy.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We are sex people! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Craft Services.
Hey, Trent.
Hi, Parth. You're looking well.
It's good to see you as well.
I didn't say that. We have a film podcast, though.
Trent, we're trying to record this speedy quick.
Yes, and then I was like, let's do it in, like, as quick as possible in, like, 5 minutes. And, like, it'll
you
be,
did not give a time. You did not give a time. You just said as quick as possible.
Yeah, in my head, I was like, let's get out of here in 5 minutes. And then you were like, it's got to be at least 10 minutes. We've got to, like, choose some clock here. And so we're in a rush, but we're not at full speed. We're at, like, 75. So we're at, like...
We're like a mild jog.
We're running, but we're not sprinting. Speaking of, you do enough walking, running, sprinting.
Sure, you're going to get hungry.
Physical activity. You stop to notice, working up something of an appetite. Reminds me, what have you been eating?
Well done on the transition, Trent. I was at Sophia Alexis's house, friend of the show.
From the Gone Girl episode.
Gone Girl episode, all the Mission Impossible episodes, among
yeah, that was
some
a whole
others.
Freaking summer. I was abroad. You were watching the Mission Impossible movies. We were having, like, very comparable experiences and amounts of fun,
Yeah, but I was at her house.
Thanks for holding down the fort, by the way.
No problem. Happy to. Friend off the show, Amelie Francois, came to Bridgewater. We hung out last night, had a little sleepover, and then this morning we went to Somerville, walked around, had a smoothie, and then went back to Sophia's house. Amelie left, and then Sophia was like, "What do you want for lunch?"
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about the smoothie, but there's more.
No, the smoothie was good. It was a mango smoothie, but
thanks.
Sophia asked, there were a few options, and I chose the grilled cheese, thinking that it'd just be a simple grilled cheese. But Sophia...
Sounds 2 ingredients, famously.
I know. But Sophia, like, sauteed some onions and crisped up some bacon. And there are 2 different kinds of cheeses.
Oh, 5 ingredients.
Oh. And I had it, and I was like, this is amazing. And I thank Sophia very much for making it.
You. And then
okay,
you said,
we're not quite there yet. I'm comfortable with it. She isn't.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good place for a relationship to be after a couple of years.
Yeah, almost 5. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have anything to ask me? You probably have that issue with your partner a lot, where you're like,
it's all
Sophia,
about me.
where you're like, Sophia, how's your day? And then she answers, and then you're just standing there like,
Oh, that's interesting. I thought you were going to say that I was the not thoughtful one. But in the scenario you've made up, Sophia doesn't really care about my day, which is interesting.
As long as you were... Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything to ask me?
No, not really. Nah, I'm just messing. Trent, what have you been eating most recently?
All right, here's a first.
Oh my God. I can see what you're eating.
Yeah, for the first time, the food is not in the past tense, it's in the future tense. I'm about to eat it. It's a plate of, and for the fans at home, this is the first time I've, like, physically held up the food in real time before it's been eaten. It's a plate of eggplant parm and some penne and some broccoli Robert.
Wow.
I had broccoli Rob for the first time. It's bitter, but it's all right. It's a vegetable.
I had broccoli Rob for the first time as well a few weeks ago. Friend of the show, Kate Rotunda, had a birthday dinner, and I had it, and I was like, I don't love this, but it's okay.
Yeah, I was like, I don't love this, but all the other adults around the table were like, broccoli Rob's the best!
Yeah.
And I was just trying to be like an adult and be like, yeah, it's all right. It's pretty okay.
But Trent, your meal looks pretty delectable, I have to say.
Thank you. It's the sooner the recording ends, the sooner and the hot I can eat it, and the hotter it'll be. So, yeah, but let's just choose some clock. Parth, what do you have going on this weekend?
Okay. Trent's like upset now. But
no, I'm just kidding. Let's do the intro though.
Yeah. It's feeling like intro queuing time.
It's giving intro.
Oh, nope. Oh God. That's going in the edit.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Ooh, accent. Welcome back to Craft Services, where we talk about... Trent, you finish us off.
The movies. Each week we talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film to talk with us about their experience working on the picture. This week,
we're talking with production designer Chad Keith for part 2 of our conversation about the Bikeriders.
The part 2
combo breaker.
If last week you were listening to part 1, you were enjoying it, you were like, I like the Bikeriders, I like this interview, I like Trent, I like Parth. This is the interview for you. 'Cause it's gonna be a lot like last week, but it also has a lot of new, unique qualities of its own.
And Trent, in a first time in a long time, I've edited this interview already, and let me just say, it's pretty freaking awesome.
Well, that's good, I guess. So that's a fact that everyone should keep in mind the whole interview. Honestly, frankly, I think people might have a hard time focusing on the Bikeriders and talking about Jeff Nichols and like the production design and Chad Keith and like his design because you just said that.
Okay,
it might be a little distracting.
Guys, Trent is hungry. Trent is ready to eat, and I'm just like. Every word I say is delaying a bite in Trent's mouth.
We're reaching the critical
mass,
requiring another microwave session moment. So,
dear. Why don't we do this? How about we cue the interview? So there are sections of the movie that are not photographs, but they're kind of imitating actual photographs where it's portraits of people.
Right.
Can you talk about, I don't know, how much work went into sort of recreating them? So if you could talk about those sections just a little bit.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they were just like, mid-story points, right? When he could just kind of capture sort of people together in their element. But those were built into, locations that we had, and we would work them into locations because it would make sense that those characters were in those places anyway. So there wasn't anything that was sort of from me that was different, to prepare for those because we had, it was like they were already in their environment, so they were easy to grab those little moments.
Was the fact that so much of the movie is following people on motorcycles, which is obviously a fast-moving object, is that making your life harder or easier in terms of like the background and what's visible constantly changing?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you have, this group of bikers ran down the road and you have to, be concerned about everything the camera's seeing. Like we spent so much time trying to get the right, pathways for them. Like through the cities and, out in the country, those are obviously easier, but still you have to be concerned about like, sort of modern houses near the road or newer barns or newer, mailboxes or whatnot. But yeah, in the city bike riding scenes, we would have to, change stop signs and lights and hide, newer looking things and, do like hide the newness in the world for for our journeys. We would just like kind of be in a van all together with cameras and like sort of do test shots, of kind of what are the possibilities of things that we could see so that I would know how to be covered, so there weren't any surprises when we were filming it of what we were and what we weren't seeing.
one of the scenes that I want to talk about was there's the brawl that happens where Benny punches the guy and then ends up punching his fist through the window,
Oh yeah,
and then gets glass in
right.
his hand. Can you talk about that set?
Yeah, that was this sort of car show vibe that we set up for them to sort of gather and hang out at, and they were kind of away from all the cars because they were bikes and a little bit of an outcast. So yeah, I mean, just other than the bikes, the cars were a a fun thing to put together in the film too, and uh, and just a little bit about the bikes. Like Jeff and I spent sort of time picking out sort of what was the correct bike for each character, and then we had bikes from all over the country. It was quite incredible to see all of the bikes together in the warehouse they were stored at. It was just like this beautiful this beautiful piece. And then so we would kind of like test different ones and start to assign bikes to like different characters. But yeah, the stunt scene was, it's pretty straightforward actually. Just the, good old punch through the glass with, I'm making it sound a lot easier than it is, but there's tons of planning and meetings and stunts and special effects, and every team is involved in those kind of big moments, where you have to reset a punch through glass.
I would imagine the biggest reset on the movie might be the bar burning down, if you're able to speak on that, the shooting of that at all.
Well, yeah, that was a kind of another situation where we found this kind of bar that had been kind of sitting there, not being used for a while, that we did a remodel on, for the interior, because we shot interior and exterior, and then we this guy also that owned the place was in this kind of decision making about if he was going to open the bar up or not. And so we were kind of convinced him that we wanted to shoot there and that we safely wanted to pretend like we were going to burn it down, because we didn't burn it down. But I think that location worked out great. It was cool.
The sort of last scene that I wanted to talk about was the like lot where, and this part of the interview will be released far after the movie's released, so I don't mind spoiling this, but where Johnny gets shot.
Right.
Where
Right.
was that shot, and how did you dress that?
Yeah, that was a bit out of Cincinnati, probably about 45 minutes out of Cincinnati, and it was a section we found that was sort of a lot of abandoned warehouses, and it was like right next to a train track, and it just had like a very cool sort of vibe to it that was, for the story, it would seem sort of, it was like, a bit on the outskirts of the city that some troublemakers would go to, right? So yeah, for my part, it was just kind of, more so helping find the location that was like that as well, because we wanted sort of this abandoned type place. So we helped sort of light it with practical lighting, but other than that, for the most part, Jeff just wanted to use the lights from the cars and the motorcycles.
Transitioning out of specific scenes a little bit, I have something of a general question, and it's just, as a production designer, what are like qualities of other production design, or like work that you admire, that you sort of strive to like strive to accomplish or
Right.
to make in your own work?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I think, I always want to challenge myself with sort of each job. Like, hopefully Jeff is always going to want me back, and I will just choose the adventure that he wrote, right? But in other work that I, think about, that I am offered or read scripts and I like, is I always want to challenge myself and do something I haven't done, so, like, build spaceships, or, go to the moon, or do something in the 1800s, like I don't want to sort of do the same types of films over and over. I enjoy just stepping out of, like, what I consider my comfort zone to be, to, like, challenge myself and do something different. And I mean, I can sort of find good in every movie I watch. I am friends with a lot of great designers, and we admire each other's work, and that's a great community to be in. But I mean, like last year, when you see films like Poor Things, it's just like, wow, who wouldn't want to design that movie? It's just like great. So that gets me excited when I see films like that are, like, kind of, you can put in your head as like something you kind of would like to, eventually do, sort of a film in that vibe or something. Um, but yeah, I don't know. And then you see films sometimes where you're like, I kind of don't want to do that. Like, I don't know, like some big war movie or something with just trenches and tanks, and maybe, I guess it's kind of like what strikes you as the mood is right at the same time.
Just sort of speaking on challenging yourself, speaking about this movie specifically, is there something you would consider the most difficult thing about working on this movie? And also, is there something that you're most proud of?
Difficult was just like, nailing the period, right? So it's just, spending all that time on the detail to just make sure it's right. That's kind of, um I'd say sort of the difficulty in it came from that, was just to make sure that was achieved and nailed. Um but, like, I think sort of a overall, like, thing that I'm sort of enjoying about the whole film, having just watched it as well, is that, like, normally when I watch a film, I am thinking about what was involved, or what I knew I had to do to get something to be to that point. And then I'll have to go back and watch it again to sort of just, like, try to enjoy the movie differently. But this time when I watched Bikeriders, I just, like, legitimately just, like, sat there and enjoyed it and watched it, and wasn't sort of concerned about anything that I had done, because I was happy with how it was all looking. Um, I wasn't nitpicking, like, oh, that chair's in the wrong place, or the wall is too bright or too dark, or whatever. I thought, because I was just sort of really pleased with all of it. So that was kind of how I felt like it was a good achievement for me, to not be concerned about anything as I was watching it.
Just to quickly revisit the photo book, I was wondering if when you were looking at the photo book, like in the research, if there's any sort of specific aspect about them that inspired you, or that you like wanted to replicate.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely the color palette. I mean, there's a certain color palette in those photographs that comes out. You know, like the vibrant oranges and the amazing sort of soft light blues and the reds and the darker colors. Like, you know, every like color in the 60s was like incredible. You know, because it was just like popping in a way that I feel like it kind of doesn't do these days. Like I feel like everything now just kind of like blends together in our world. But I feel like in the 50s and 60s, like those sort of bold, brighter colors like really made a difference and like stood out, you know, everywhere. And that's kind of what we what I personally was, you know, one of the top things I pulled out of the photography was the colors, you know, um, to sort of set a mood for the whole film.
Just one last Bike Riders question I had was just, are there any deleted scenes or sets that you dressed and made that ended up not being in the movie?
Yeah, sadly, there's one. And I sent on the time difference of I think I knew it was cut, but then I kind of forgot about it. And then the time difference has just been so busy with getting the film out that I haven't had a chance to talk to him. We're gonna try to talk tomorrow, just so I can tell him I like the film. But yeah, there was this one set that was really cool. It was sort of like uh, a tiled bathroom set that we built that was being used as a dark room. So there was a sort of a scene where Danny Lyon's character Mike was developing some photos. I think it was a pretty quick moment where he's just sort of continuing his chat with Kathy, and you know, who knows, something, you know, we didn't need it, right? So it's not there. What else was a different thing? That's kind of about it. I mean, it's just surprising it's cut off. I mean, because when Joe like writes something and we shoot it and we make it like it's you know, it's 99% in the film. So I'm anxious to actually hear myself why it isn't in there. You know, so I don't know. But yeah, that's all I can remember. Like kind of one set being removed. Yeah. I mean, things always get tightened up, you know, where you think you're gonna see the whole space, and then you end up not seeing the whole space, and you know that usually happens. But it's good to give the actors the whole space, even though if you're not gonna shoot it off,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Another movie we wanted to ask about as we're starting to close up is Scream 2022 and
Yeah.
how you got involved with that and what your experience was.
Right. It was, you know, that was kind of right. I mean, COVID was super strong, and like it was I was reached out to, and I didn't really know the name of the film when I got the script. It was like kind of a, you know, all secretive and whatnot, and sort of process of elimination. I was like, oh my god, I think this is like another Scream movie. And then, you know, oddly enough, I'm not like the biggest horror fan. Like, I mean, I told you, I watched a lot of horror when I was a kid because I just thought it was shocking and fun. And so, you know, of course, like, I mean, who didn't sort of love Scream, the first Scream, you know? And I is got that, you know, sort of an email about it, and they're like, hey, we know you live in Wilmington. We're looking to do this film here. And then I found out Scream, and I was like, yeah, immediately. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. And yeah, it was pretty incredible to recreate that, you know, original sort of house from scratch on stage, and like get all of that right. I mean, the worst thing I wanted to do was like, I mean, you know, the Scream fans are like bonkers, and like it's a whole world, right? So The last thing I wanted to do was like have, a million like Scream fans like bitching at the designer because I like did something wrong to the set. So I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time on getting that right. We sent like set designers out to the original location that was in Northern California. I had really great phone calls with the designer of the first two Screams, who has been retired for a bit, and just kind of it was super fun. It was like I felt like a kid playing like working on a film, because it was like a fun movie to help bring back to life. I've never been reached out by so many, more than any other film, like on social media and all that stuff. Like, people find out like who does these movies, and it's like nonstop people reaching out. That kind of A lot of people are like, do you have like anything from Scream like I can have, just like fun, like fanatics. It's like, it's funny. But yeah, that was a fun experience. It's kind of like, one and done with that, right? Just kind of, I did my Scream. I don't need to do another one. There'll probably be 20 more, you know. But it was fun to kind of bring that first one back after it had been like gone for so long. So that was fun. And I had a great time working with the directors. They're great guys.
Is there anything you've worked on or are working on recently that you can talk about?
I am got a few budding interesting projects, but I am, I was sort of affected like a lot of my friends and people I know from this sort of last year strike and then possibility of this year's strike. So I hope that this fall there's a little bit more of normality to the business. Let's hope. Because I've been reached out to about a lot of projects, and a lot of people are on kind of like pause patterns. So I have some really cool things that may be coming up, but nothing's confirmed because the world is a weird place.
It is. Parth, do you think it's time for the Big Kahuna final question?
I think it's time.
Okay, so the Big Kahuna final question is, what is the last great movie you watched? And it can be a first-time viewing or a rewatch of an older film, but it has to be great, not just good.
It has to be great. The last great film I watched. Let's go with Bikeriders.
Yeah,
Let's
you're
go.
not wrong. Sometimes we include the criteria that it can't be the movie that we're talking about.
But you didn't.
Yeah, but I didn't, and it was a great movie.
Yeah, it's good. A lot of times when I'm working like on stuff, like I kind of tend to like watch like really bad like reality TV. It kind of like gets me out of the mindset from like my job just to watch like dumb TV. So yeah, Bikeriders is gonna be my answer.
Good. Parth, you want to bring us out?
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much to Chad Keith, production designer behind such films as Begin Again, Boy Erased, Scream, and our film for today, Jeff Nichols, The Bikeriders. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank you.
What an interview.
Whoa, that was fun.
That was a good time.
Yeah. I liked it. You liked it. Chad Keith was there. My dog is trying to get into the room. I like dogs. I like Chad Keith. Dogs probably like Chad Keith.
Probably. When you think about it.
Does Chad Keith like dogs? Who's to say?
I think probably.
He was really likable. We liked him. We interviewed him. We like dogs. So I think, suffice it to say, this was a good interview.
Wow. Trent's struggling. Trent's so hungry right now.
Yeah. We can
Trent's like struggling
we
for
can use
words.
my hunger as an excuse from the level of frazzled I always am.
Well, Trent, just for you, I'll take over. Thank you so much to production designer Chad Keith for talking with us about the Bikeriders. Part 2 was this episode. Part 1 was last episode. In case you didn't know,
So
this is kind of a killer episode, I have to say.
I think the next episode we are going to reach a new maximum. We're gonna go to maximum overload.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone listening has a friend named Max or Maximilian,
But
It
like,
might be-
what would like the female like counterpart to a Max? Like, what would that sound like?
it would have additional letters.
Sure, definitely. I don't want to say exact. Should we say? It hasn't happened yet.
Wait, Parth, X this out.
X this out. Yeah.
Wait, I'm about to give you a real pearl of information.
Oh, really? I was gonna say that next week's episode is probably gonna be a real pearl out of our catalog of episodes.
Parth, can you say the name of the movie we're doing next week?
Sure. We're talking about Despicable Me 4.
So if you want to hear our episode on Despicable Me 4 next week, you're just going to want to go on your streaming platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Stitcher, and we'll be talking about Despicable Me 4 next week, Sunday, and you can listen to our episode on Instagram.
In 2 parts, by the way. So like, it'll be
Twitter.
good. It's good that we'll have like
so
2
we
parts.
won't reveal who we interviewed yet. I'll give you a hint.
Trent, should I just say?
Think The Office star.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Should we say it? We're talking to Gru. We're talking to Gru.
We're talking to the voice of Gru from the upcoming film, Despicable Me 4. Maybe you've seen Despicable Me 1, 2, 3. We got the privilege to talking with him. We were on. He gave us some of his time, and he was fully in character the whole time.
Yeah.
We didn't ask for that. We actually asked specifically to interview Steve Carell because we wanted to talk to him about like The Office, Anchorman, and he was like, no, I'm Gru, like, and like he did the whole thing for like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
and so we split that up into like 2 whopping interview parts. Tune in next week. It's gonna be like a new level, a new
and you
playing
can
field.
listen to those episodes anywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, really wherever you listen to podcasts.
Already said that. Food's just getting colder at this
Did we?
point.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, wasn't paying attention.
Cool.
But yeah, thanks so much to Steve Carell. Sorry, Gru, for coming on the pod. And you guys can
save.
listen. You guys can listen to that next week. We're actually talking about Maxine. Bye, guys.
Bye.